Are you struggling from the pain of childhood abuse and neglect? Do you feel trapped by your past? Today, I'm sharing two transformative lessons that have helped me heal from my past. I'm sharing practical steps that can help you reclaim your life and build happier relationships. If you're someone that likes a challenge, later in the video, I'm going to be giving you a challenge that will not only help you, but also bring satisfaction to the other people in your life. Hi, I'm Kristen. I have a history as a nurse and a nurse educator, but more importantly, I have healed from my past trauma, depression, anxiety, and PTSD. And I want to share what I've learned with you so that you can heal too. It is possible to suffer less and lead a more joyful life. Life lesson number one is to accept that life isn't fair. I am the youngest of three children, and I think I spent a lot of time in my childhood talking about how things aren't fair. I would say to my mom, this isn't fair, that isn't fair, and, nothing's fair. And she said to me at a pretty young age, fairness is a myth. And that really has stuck with me. Gripping to the idea that life is fair, unfortunately, is only hurting you. It's not hurting anyone else around you. It's only hurting you. I spent a lot of time after I left my ex-husband feeling kind of, victimized by him in that relationship, but also just victimized by my life circumstances. And I spent a lot of time comparing myself to the people around me. And it caused me a lot of pain. When I left my husband, I was, of course, became a single mom of two pretty young children, and all of my friends were parents of pretty young children. And after my divorce, I, still spent a lot of time with the same friends. And I often felt I would stack up kind of the evidence of their lives being easier than mine. I would think, in many cases, I was spending time with the same people, and there were two parents together with either one or two children. And like I think about my brother and my sister-in-law, two parents with one child. I was one parent with two children. And I always felt overwhelmed by this. I felt like, their lives were better and easier than mine. It was they were luckier than I was. And I felt bad about that. I felt bad about that a lot. And it really brought me down. I also felt a lot of resentment for my ex-husband. He wasn't able to really help me take care of the children and participate financially. And I also felt a lot of resentment for him because of that. I saw this Buddha quote come over my Instagram feed the other day, and it really struck me in relationship to this topic. And it's holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And that really resonated with me. It made me think about this situation, about, the resentment, the anger that I held for my husband. Wasn't hurting him that I was angry. It was only hurting me. So it kind of came to a point one day where I decided it was time to let go, and literally let go of that anger and that resentment. So how do you heal from this sort of a situation? When I talk about the letting go of the resentment for my husband, I actually had a visual mantra that when I would start feeling frustration and anger, my hands tend to clasp. Fortunately, like I'm pretty connected with my body, and I would notice my hands clasping, and when I would feel that resentment, and I would let them go. I also had a visualization that I would use often about my ex-husband. If I felt really frustrated or manipulated by him, it was kind of this feeling of being dragged behind a car was the feeling that I would get. And I kind of thought of myself as like being dragged behind a car, and I would let go of the car. And when I would let go, I would just be sitting there, and the car would go off ahead without me. And this was a very, very peaceful feeling. And that letting go created immediate peace and calm within my body and levity. Practicing mindfulness and self-awareness is a great way to heal from this. Being aware of our thought patterns, being aware of our feelings and our emotions can really help us have the ability to intervene with them. I know mindfulness can be kind of an abstract thing, and I think a lot of people don't really know how to practice that, and people automatically just start thinking about meditation. But there's a whole bunch of ways to practice mindfulness. And I've created a journal. It's called the Mindful Healing Journal. It's available either in a paperback version like this, or there's also a digital version. There's a link below the show notes if you're interested in looking into this. It's a basic structure where I've got about 30 pages at the beginning, which go through kind of detailed instructions about how to do the mindfulness activities. And then there is templates for you to write in your daily entries. So the journal is really intended and designed to help you learn how to do mindfulness activities and get good and get practiced at the skill of journaling at the same time. Another thing that you can do to heal is practicing gratitude. And I know people talk about gratitude a lot, and I think some people might think that it's cheesy. I don't know. I think it's super helpful. And I think if you can do it regularly, it really has a profound impact on your perspective. So it can be that can be as simple as sitting down, once a day in the morning or before you go to bed and write down 5, 10 things that you're grateful for in any given day. And it can be simple things. I often think about, I love like the colors of steamed vegetables. This color of steamed broccoli makes it to my gratitude list on a regular basis. It can be, the people in your life, anything. And that's a simple way to approach it. There's also a much deeper way to approach gratitude. This is another book that I highly recommend. It's called Living in Gratitude by Angeles Arian. And if you want to go deep on gratitude, you can go unbelievably deep on gratitude. And this is a great book for that. And the other thing that I really like about this book is it's kind of written with an around the year sort of theme. So you can kind of pick it up at any month throughout the year and practice the things for that month and then just kind of keep going all the way around the year. So there's something fresh that you can be looking at all the time and practicing gratitude. Another thing that you can do is join community with people that are like you. I think in retrospect, it would have been really good for me to have joined a community group or support group of single moms. I didn't do that at the time, but I kind of wish I would have. Community helps to make you feel validated, and that validation actually makes you feel stronger and increases your resilience. There are a lot of rewards from doing this work. It releases you from the need for external validations from others, which you're probably not going to get unless you ask for it, because people are always wrapped up in their own lives, right? You become responsible for your own happiness and well-being, which is so liberating. You can focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot. You can liberate yourself from the frustration of unmet expectations from other people. And you can embrace your reality and move forward with strength and resilience rather than resentment. I'd like to just take a moment and let you all know that I've created a mental health resource guide. There's a link in the show notes. If you click that link, I will send the resource guide to you for free. It's about a 14-page document that goes through all of the things that I have done to heal myself from my mental health issues. And I want to share those things with you. So please click the link. I'll send it to you for free. It'd be great if you could give me a thumbs up. That will ensure that other people get to see this video. And share it with anyone. If there's anyone that you think would benefit from this information, please share it with them. Life lesson number 2 is take the pillow. So take the pillow means if someone asks you if they want to give you something, they'll say, "Oh, okay, I can help you with that. Can I do this for you?" Rather than saying no, you say yes. You take the pillow. This is the phrase that we use in my family and my relationship. If somebody's offering you something like, "Oh, no, it's okay, I got it," we'll say, "No, take the pillow." If you think about it, how often are people asking you if they can do something for you, or can I help you with that, or offering help? And think of all the things that we say. I wrote a few of these down. So think of things like you'll say, "Oh, no, I got it," or "It's okay," or "I'm fine," or "Oh, it's not that bad," or "Oh, no, I don't want to impose," or "I can handle it." Or think of maybe something like, "It's not a big deal." We do this all the time. And we get into this habit of not wanting to accept help from other people. So here are some of the reasons why we refuse help, especially if you're someone who's been, had emotional abuse or neglect in your past. These might sound familiar to you. So maybe you fear judgment. You don't want to be judged by the other person. You need to appear strong. You need to appear as if you've gotten everything taken care of. You're not showing any weakness. You maybe have reluctance to rely on others because your past has told you that that's not a safe thing to do. Or you fear rejection. You fear, showing a weakness or needing help would make someone reject you. When I was healing from my past and kind of rewiring all of my behaviors after I left my marriage, I remember this time specifically where I was really anxious to let anyone help me. And when I got into a new relationship, especially, like if my partner would want to help me with something or, come over to my house and help me clean something or just whatever, I was really resistant to that. I started getting kind of curious about why. I want to talk to you about some ways that you can heal from this. So the first thing you can do is acknowledge the abuse and its impact. So thinking about one of the reasons that you're like this is because you've either been neglected or abused in your past and you became super self-sufficient because you had to. You had to take care of yourself. And if you had needs, you probably were rejected or those needs weren't met very, very adequately. Recognizing that and understanding it is kind of the first step to really accepting why you might be reluctant to getting help from other people. The second is to address your fear of indebtedness. So some people that have been in an abusive situation fear asking for help because they don't want to feel indebted to the person that is giving them the help. So this is the idea that you don't want to be indebted to someone who abused you, for example. And that's a very common thing for someone that is an abuser. If they do something for you, they're going to hold it over you, right? Or make you feel, bad for asking for it, or remind you of the great thing that they did for you. And healthy relationships, there's a give and take. It isn't always that somebody's going to hold something over you. So you might have to lean into the discomfort of that and try leaning into trust. And next is to be specific about what you need. So if somebody's offering you help, you're going to be the one that has to specify the things that you actually need them to do to help you. And that's a good thing to practice because it helps you practice being assertive, but it's also going to help you feel in control in a situation that you're already feeling vulnerable in. And that's going to position you to be more successful in that situation. Next is to practice vulnerability. Asking people for help or letting people help you can make you feel really vulnerable. And for me, one of the best ways to do this is just to be honest and tell the people that you're with about your feelings. And I would just tell my friends or family or whoever I was with that I felt uncomfortable, that I feel uncomfortable having people help me. And that just that in and of itself will kind of open the door to having conversation about it. And that honesty kind of makes you feel less likely that you're going to try to hide something or just kind of avoid the topic altogether. So I suggest really just leaning in and being honest about your feelings. I remember being in the earlier days of the relationship that I'm currently in, and accepting help was such a challenge for me because of all the things that I've just talked about. And I remember the feeling, the vulnerability, and the feeling that I was going to be rejected. The feeling that if somebody knew, kind of the depths of my life, or like saw how messy my house was, or saw how I lived my life, that they would reject me. And it just hasn't been true. And you're going to have to put yourself out there, try to trust someone, to see, to learn if that person is actually a trustworthy person. There are risks involved, But taking those risks with the right person can be so worth it because you actually have the opportunity to have a truly, deeply loving, balanced, respectful relationship. And everyone deserves that. So now for the challenge. The challenge is to ask for the pillow. Not only take the pillow, but ask for the pillow. Ask someone for help specifically. It's okay to ask someone for help. It's okay to ask someone for something. I actually asked a friend about a couple weeks ago to make chocolate sauce for me. She makes this amazing chocolate sauce, and we were going to have ice cream. And I said, "Hey, will you make that chocolate sauce?" Guess what? She was thrilled to be able to make me the chocolate sauce. And she was able to give me something that she wanted to give me. And I was able to basically compliment her on her awesome chocolate sauce. And yes, ask for the pillow. If this is something that you're going to consider doing, leave me a comment. Put the word pillow in the comments and tell me what you want to ask for, if you have any ideas. And then come back once you do ask for the pillow. Come back and let me know how it went. Thanks for making it to the end. Please, I want to remind you about the mental health resource guide that I've linked down below. Please click the link and I will send it to you for free. Leave me a comment if there's anything that I talked about today that resonates with you. Please leave me a comment. Click the thumbs up button. That'll help ensure that more folks get to see this. And I would love it if you click the subscribe button. And I really appreciate you being here. Thanks so much.